Hello everyone. I'm working on a 19 F350 Super Duty and I'll walk you through a front brake service in this video. Start by getting the tire off. I'm just going to do one side, this passenger side. Both sides are the same. Pull the little boot off the bleeder. I'm going to go ahead and crack the bleeder loose and then just snug it back up. And I'll put one lug nut on just to make sure the rotor, if it does slip off, doesn't fall on my foot. These are 16 millimeter bolts for the caliper. I'm going to pry up the caliper. And then I'm going to pry each piston back a little bit so it can clear the ridge. I'll slip the caliper off, just set it off to the side. I think these had 4 millimeters left. They had a slight brake pulsation. There you can see the anchor bracket pins. I moved those. They slide freely. The boots looks like they're bonded on there, so I'm just going to leave them alone. And these are 21 millimeter bolts for the anchor bracket. We'll pull the anchor bracket off with the pads still in place. This rotor looks like it's stuck on, so I have to hammer it off. Give it some good whacks with a 6-pound sledge. Free it up. Pull the rotor off. And there's the part number for the rotor. These Motorcraft rotors have some of them have a coating on it. And this one does. And there's the part number for the front brake pads. The inner pads are marked along with the outers. The inner pads have a shiny shim and the outers have a dark shim. Go ahead and remove the pad clips. And a lot of times these anchor brackets are really rusty and I just use my Dremel and Dremel the rust away, but these aren't too bad, so I'm just gonna clean them up with the wire brush. Spray them clean. Then install new hardware, which comes with the brakes. And these are left and right. The little spring tab will go out. I'm just going to apply some Sil-Glide. Sometimes the pads will come with their, it's like a caliper lube. You put that on there. Sil-Glide works really good though. I think, I don't even know if they recommend anything on it, but I put it on either way. So these pads, you kind of take them in at an angle to engage the springs and slip them in. I'm going to install the pads before I put the anchor bracket back up and bolt it up. So you start at top and bottom. And what this does, there's little springs and that will give it a light tension out on each brake pad. We'll clean the caliper up. I like to clean the boots up before I push the pistons back in. And these calipers, the caliper pistons also had rust buildup. So I'm going to use my Dremel and just lightly sand the rust off the pistons. Don't have to get too fancy here, just knock most of the rust off. Okay, so I'm gonna use both the old brake pads and put my tool in there. I don't know what they call that, a caliper retractor. And then open up the bleeder and push the pistons back in. If I don't put the both the pads in there, the tool will bottom out. That's why I've got them in there. We'll push these pistons all the way back in and snug the bleeder back up. Now the caliper's all clean and serviced. Install the new rotor. Put a lug nut on there just so it doesn't fall on our foot again. Install the anchor bracket. You see the tension pushing out on those brake pads. All right, we'll tighten up the 21 millimeter anchor bracket bolts. Reinstall the caliper. If it doesn't go on easily, then you don't have to put the pistons pushed back all the way. Tighten up the 16 millimeter bolts. Lower it down and pump the brake pedal until it's stiff. I'm going to loosen up the bleeder again just to see if there's any trapped air in there. Let a little bit of fluid drain out. Then tighten it back up. Torque it down. Install the cap. Make sure the rotor spins freely. Reinstall the wheel. Install the lug nuts. Lower the vehicle. And these lug nuts are torqued to 150 foot-pounds. Yeah, so really easy service. Just take it out for a test drive and burnish the brakes in. Alright, thanks for watching everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.